Good morning, everybody. I'm going to offer you another little nugget of joy, another little playful way to think about life today, and I'm going to start you off with a little metaphor, which is definitely not meaningful to me. So, if you could just imagine yourself being out in the desert in the southwest of North America, and you've been driving on a dirt track for at least 20 miles since the last junction, and you haven't passed a soul in all that time, and you're bouncing along in your car, but it's a big car, you've got a big pickup truck, and it's high. You can actually see above the other cars. It's got a button for four-wheel drive. It's got a button for low four-wheel drive. You're feeling as if you own the road, sort of thing, as if everything is under control. And you're heading somewhere with intention, with direction. And as you're driving along, the dirt road turns into a sort of a sandy road. And the more you go forward, because it's too narrow to even turn around and go back, the sandier it gets. Until this very sturdy truck, where you're high up, feeling safe and secure, is starting to slalom in the sand, and you don't know if it makes sense to stop, to press the button for four-wheel drive and then to start again, or to keep going with the momentum that you've got and just to blather on through and hope that you'll make it and kind of very loosely steer the ship without trying to offend the sand, without trying to offend the momentum of the car, so that you will just pass on through it and eventually reach the other side. And I kind of thought as I'm walking along this morning, finding this beautiful little granary, how much of a metaphor for life that is. Yeah, we feel like we're in control. We feel like we're in control until the moment that we're not, and then we remember that little bit of us that feels like it's in control is bouncing on an ocean of stuff underneath that we don't understand. There was me feeling all safe. Sorry, not me, a random individual, feeling very safe on in my cabin in this empire, until the sand got in my way, until the sand got in somebody's way, and suddenly I realised that the bit of me that thinks it is I, is flailing like a wave on the top of the ocean, not understanding anything about the ocean, not understanding what is down below, and just trying my best. Yeah. What I want to talk about today in that vein is that these moments, when you cough, when you splutter, when the things that you think you understand turn out to be a tiny, tiny proportion of what it could be, they're good. They're important. They're actually normal, and you were always destined to find them. And so there's no point beating you up about them. There's no point complaining about it and shoulda, coulda, woulda with these experiences, because they're part of life. They shake you up a bit. They make you realize that you're not as omnipotent. You're not as secure as you thought you were, that all of this is somewhat larger than you, and you play a tiny, tiny part in it, but there's an awful lot more. You can own your space. You can be an authority figure to yourself. You can take responsibility for your life. But there's stuff out there that is bigger than you, which is beyond your ken, which can take precedence at any unexpected moment. Yeah? But that these are the moments that bring you back. These are the moments that bring you to a point where you simply don't know. And you have to make a choice, and you have to go with it, and you have to see the end results of that choice. Yeah? And they're fantastic moments, because you're no longer running on autopilot. You are living in the now. And when these little moments come along and knock us off track, I think it's fantastic. It makes you realize all the stuff that you're not considering, all of the ways in which you might be completely and utterly wrong. And I think that's very good for your humility. It's very good for your mental freedom and your emotional freedom. And if you look at it in the right way, it's actually amazingly good for self-esteem. Even though you've been knocked off track, it's an opportunity to show to yourself that when unexpected opportunities come along or when unexpected shocks come along, you'll deal with them somehow or other, that you always tend to deal with them. And you couldn't possibly anticipate them in advance because, well, that would be ridiculous. Yeah? So I guess what I'm talking about is partly this gift that we never quite know, that we think we know, that we identify with the bits that we think we know, but that's a tiny proportion of what it is. And so we shouldn't get too sure about what it is that we know. But also the possibility every time something comes along that proves that you didn't know what you thought you knew, that is a way of loosening the chains of your personal fixed ideas. And if you dance with that, then you are absurdly infinite. And effectively what I'm saying here is give yourself some slack. Don't criticize yourself when you make a mistake, because it's maybe the best thing that ever happened. You know, failures are the moments where you have the best opportunity in a long while to take stock, to look, and to learn what doesn't work. Yeah. And failure is part of life. You know, we never walk the first time we try. We never drive a car the first time we try. But look at the end result, sort of thing. You know, failure is part of the process of evolving. So yeah, so if this sort of thing is of interest to you, even though we have these tiny little mosquitoes that are trying to be my best friend, subscribe, and I will offer you more. All right, take care. Bye.